for example, what the heck is PureCAFE? How do I become a customer? And talk a little bit about the company profile and what is the brand partner? How does that work? It's easy. There's nothing complicated here. And then also today's call, we also have the one and only Senior VP of Sales and Marketing for Live Pure, Mr. Randy Crane, is in the house. So if you're ready to get started, let's get started here. Let's talk about, first of all, the survey that I put out this week. And if you answered it, great. If you didn't answer it, then it does not apply to you, right? So if you take the time to answer the surveys, it gives us feedback in terms of what we're going to train on. But let me give you some ideas of what we talked about in the survey. We said, hey, what would you like to learn most about coming up here? What is it? What are the missing pieces of your own puzzle to make sure that that you have a massive success by the time we hit the February liftoff for PureCAFE? And so the first thing I asked is, how many would like to know more about the company? And a whopping 3.33% said they want to learn more about the company. So 3%, 3.33. And then the next question was, how many want to learn more about coffee, about the coffee? And this kind of surprised me. 20% of the respondents said they want to learn more about the coffee itself. And then the next question was, well, what about the cordyceps? And this, again, was a little surprising, only 13%. So 20% want to know more about the coffee, this gourmet quality coffee, and 13% said, no, I want to know about those cordyceps. We also, which I thought, would be number one, and it's not what I think, it's what the people are telling us that is the right answer. So I thought everyone would want to learn more about the compensation plan, but the fact is only 16.67% wanted to know more about how the compensation plan works. And the next thing I asked is, well, how many would like to learn about how to grow the network, how to grow your own personal network, bigger, better, faster, stronger? And this is the winner, by the way. 36.67% said that they want to learn about growing the network. So we're going to touch on that today. If you want to know more about the comp plan, maybe I'll do another survey and hit the comp plan, and we'll talk in detail more and more about the comp plan. So then finally, I asked how many people want to learn more about how to get your business started. And again, only 10%, because people know, look, it's coffee, all right? So how to get the business started, and we'll touch on that again. So here's the thing. I want to comment, and I'm going to bring Rick on in a second here, on the winner, which was how to grow the network. And I just want to remind everyone on the call, traditionally, if we had a very complicated product, if we had a complicated service, if we were doing something really, really technical, then I would have to maybe have a little bit of a different answer in terms of how to grow your network. But guys, maybe grab your pen and write this down. 2 words. It's coffee. Okay. If you want to grow your network, remember 2 words. It's coffee. You can go anywhere. Just throw a rock outside and just go stand beside the rock. And the next person that comes close to you, you just ask them if they drink coffee. You'll be in an instant conversation. So remember, growing a network is really about introducing, and it's a conversation that is more important than some kind of a sales pitch. There's no sales pitch with coffee. We're basically going out there, and I'll get into it a little bit in the presentation. But with that, I wanted to invite Rick Redford. He is the president of Live Pure onto the call. He is an actual president of the company. He's not a distributor acting like a president or to be. He is the president, and he makes sure that everything that's happening, affairs of the company, are being handled properly. So there's a lot of things going on in the background that us brand partners never get to see. All right. So with that, hey, Rick, it's my pleasure to bring you on the call here. Welcome to the call. Everyone's fired up to hear from you, and tell us your story and maybe how this survey, how you can maybe input into the survey results.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. And we had an opportunity to talk this morning and shared a little bit about this, and it's an exciting time. It's a exciting anticipation, frustrating anticipation at times, because when you hear something, you want it now. And so there's a lot of people like, I want it now, I want it now. And I understand that. It's and then you get criticized if you don't tease it long enough. And then, so it's I don't think there's a perfect equation here. I love that. It's coffee. It's coffee. And we've been having a lot of conversations with our current leaders that are used to talking about ingredients, and they're like, wow, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, it's coffee. It's coffee. It tastes great. So what you had asked me about how to expand your network, I thought I would start first of all with back in the 1980s, I got my license and became a stockbroker. And Bill Anderson and I grew up in the same neighborhood, so he will attest to this. I had no credibility. I had no sphere of influence. I had no, I was a smart alecky teenager, and so it wasn't like I could call my parents' friends and say, "Hey, remember me? You want to come and invest with me?" There was no internet. There was no lead generation. There was a phone book, and I remember when I started as a stockbroker, they said, "Here's your desk," and on top of the desk, because there was no computer, so there's no computer screen, there was a phone and a phone book. And I remember I had committed to my wife, and we were not married all that long. I think she was pregnant with our first child, and there was no back door. I had made a commitment. I was going to go make this work. And so I made a commitment to myself that I would call a page of the phone book. Remember the business section of the phone book in the very back? I would call a page of the phone book before I went to lunch. And then I would call another page of the phone book before I went home. For anybody who's ever made phone calls out of the phone book, they are the least successful by percentage of anything. But over a year, I was able to build a good, strong business. And I will say that my top 10 customers and investors that were investing with me either came directly from a phone call from the phone book or a referral from a phone call in the phone book. And so when people say to me, I've run out of people to talk to, I kind of laugh. I kind of chuckle because, it's not those are all mechanisms. There's a lot of different mechanisms out there. And we live in a really interesting time. Social media allows you to reconnect. So as you asked me that question this morning, I thought, okay, here's 2 or 3 things that you may have thought of, you may not have thought of, that I try to do, even though I'm not a distributor. I believe in connections, and so I really believe in relationships, and most of us have relationships that we don't even think of unless we ask ourselves the question. If you haven't already done a memory jogger, do that. Like, go online. If you can go, I Googled it the other day, memory jogger. And you can print out a form that'll ask you a bunch of questions. Who's your mailman? Who's your this? Who's your that? And who do you know that does this? Who do you know that does that? And a lot of times I think we forget that how valuable that is. Like we most of us know over 100 people just without even really thinking much about it. And many of us 200 or 300 people. So that's something that I think we forgot about. And then social media, in my opinion, is a connection point. It's not a replacement for conversation. A lot of people make that error where they think it's a place to promote a product. I think people don't want to get sold when they go to social media. They want to be connected with. And so it's a way to make that connection, and then you can connect in person or connect by sending a message. But a lot of times I've gone and researched friends of mine that I grew up with or that I went to high school with just through social media, and then reached out to them either from a messenger or something like that. And there's a lot of people that you can find through social media, and sometimes even just making a post about lifestyle. Again, I don't think people want to be sold, but they want to see what you're up to. And so, Shane, I told you this morning, you live a charmed life right now. You're in the Dolomites, and then you're going to be in Paris, and then you're going to be in Cancun. It reminds me of an old Bill Cosby comedy routine from his first album. But, I think people want to see that. And if they see Shane doing that, they say, what are you doing? And when they ask, what are you doing? You say, hey, let me message you. Let's talk. So there's a lot of ways that you can connect. Referrals from people it's really interesting. I think that some of the most successful people that I've come across in the industry, I've worked with leaders all across the world, they utilize relationships, not through that relationship alone, but through who do you know, conversations with those people that you have a relationship with. Like family is usually the last people who want to join your network marketing business. But people they know. And a lot of times if you ask, it isn't, hey, who do you know that wants to join me in business? It might be, who do you know that drinks coffee in this case, or who do you know that that you've seen or been around that drinks one cup after another, or who do you know that might have been misplaced from work recently, or New Skin in our industry just laid off 5% of all their workers. Those are people with experience. Do you know anybody who knows somebody that used to work at New Skin? There's a lot of ways that you can go about it. But anyway, that's just a few thoughts today. But in fact, there's a great book out there. I'm trying to think if I have the second book in his series. The first one is How to Never Run Out of People to Talk to. The author is Jim Lupkin. This is his second book, that is Predictive Social Media. I don't get paid for promoting this. He didn't, Jim's a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine, actually. And I'm reading this book, but it's a guide to mastering core values, relationships, and a disruptive system that is changing the world of business. And it's a proven system to how to use social media to utilize those relationships. I recommend the first one, again, How to Never Run Out of People to Talk to, is his first book using social media. So a lot of ways that you can make that work. Shane, I get more and more excited every time I come on one of your calls. And so I appreciate you inviting me. This is your call, not mine. So I'm going to get back to you unless there's a question you want to ask me.
No, that's actually fantastic. I mean, Rick, you were just, as you were speaking, and I'm looking, and I see people taking notes, which is really cool, right? If you're taking notes, when you've got someone in front of you that has 30 years of experience, and the simplicity of like where you started with the phone book, like, it's amazing. And you still built a team today with the social media. Things have really, really changed, but the bottom line is it's not about a million people. It's about getting a few good people together. Here's what gets me fired up. There's two things that I want to mention, Rick, and maybe we'll just get you commenting here on this. Number one, I realize that, you hear people, hey, I got this guy, he has 3,000 people in his group and he's joining, right? That never gets me excited. You know why? Because that's not the reality. The reality is maybe he grew a team of 3,000, but when he joins, he starts by himself. He doesn't join with 3,000 people. He starts by himself. And what does he got to do? He's got to sponsor one on the right and one on the left. Then he's got to get another person. Then he's got to get a customer. Then all of a sudden, one of his brand partners maybe invite a few people and they get started. And that's how you grow a network. It always starts from one person, having the courage to say, I'm going to plant my flag right here. I'm planting my flag. How do I know this? Because that's what I'm doing. I don't come in with a million people. One person, I signed up, I registered another person, started helping them, and that's how we're going to grow this network. Yes, eventually, the plan is 1 million, maybe more, maybe 2 million. There's no limits because of what we've got and the technology that we've got and the powerhouse corporate team. The other thing, Rick, that really fires me up is I know that every time that I sponsor a new brand partner, I'm excited because they're going to get involved and we're going to be able to mentor and work together. But what I'm more excited is that they have 100 to 350 contacts. It's not just about that person. It's who do they know? Who does that person know? Whether they have experience or whether they don't have experience, they may know someone who knows someone. And traditionally in this industry, from my own experience, it's really not often where you're going to sponsor a bunch of people that go to the top of the company. Normally what I've seen, and Rick, maybe I'm right here, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm somewhere in between, but normally someone sponsors someone who sponsors someone, and then boom, the big person shows up, that they would never expect. And so what maybe your feedback? I know you've got another call to jump on right now, but let's give us some feedback here, and then we'll get on to the next part of the presentation today.
You're absolutely right, Shane. I think a lot of people, they envy somebody who maybe has had experience in the industry or has been a part of a team with hundreds or thousands of people. And the reality is, not everybody moves just because one person moves. And I think that there's an unfair envy, so to speak, of somebody who may have been a part of a team with thousands of people. because if I had a dime for every time I talked to a leader that said I can bring 1,000 people over, and they brought 20, I would be a wealthy man. But the reality is, it's just we all are one on one. It's who do you know, and some people build faster than others, and that's the beautiful thing about this industry. I absolutely love network marketing. It can be the most frustrating business in the world, but it can be also the most incredibly rewarding. And a lot of it has to do with just sticking with it. Even during difficult times, there's and whether you always think, man, that one guy, if he just did it, he's got all the tools in the world. He's the most successful one of the most successful people. If he just joins my team, I'll have it made. And the reality is, it really is the one-on-one, the bring one in, they bring one in, they bring one in, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you've got 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. So Shane, you're spot on.
All right, all right. Rick Redford, president of Live Pure. Thank you so much for taking your, part of your Saturday here to be with us and give us that those insights. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all, and Merry Christmas, all of you.
All right. All right. Hey, what I'm going to do now, everyone, is I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to do a brief overview before we bring the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing on in a second here. But for the benefit of guests, if you're just joining us, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm going to give you a brief overview. What the heck are we doing here? This is the introduction to PureCAFE. We're in the pre-launch mode, and it's kind of a little brief pre-launch presentation. If you want a copy of this, reach out to a brand partner. Again, this is for pre-launch. Our liftoff does not happen until February of 2024. And so to answer your probably number one question that I get every single day is, when can I get samples? February of 2024, we're building up a massive, massive waiting list. And so there's a structure that will be going on in future presentations. I'm going to be detailing with corporate exactly how we're going to roll out. How do we determine, who gets what product first? Because everybody's coming in at the same time. So there is a very logical, systematic, a really beneficial approach that the company has taken, and not a cheap approach. Very, very expensive in terms of the company, what they put together. So this is the liftoff presentation. I'll talk about PureCAFE. Take notes until you can memorize this, because it doesn't change. What is PureCAFE? The first thing is, it's a coffee. It's not just coffee, but it's a #1 premium grade coffee. We will go, listen carefully, everyone. I'm not interested in competing with Mickey Mouse down the road, who started a coffee company in his basement. That's not our target. We don't care about another company who might have coffee or might have something. We're not talking about that. What I'm talking about is, I want to compete with the top coffee companies in the world when we're launching this product. I'm talking about, I want to go up against Starbucks. I want to go up against, in Canada, Tim Hortons. We want to go head to head with Nescafe. We want to go head to head with all of the top, Lavazza, if that's what you drink, or whatever, Folgers, if you think that is #1. So when we launch into the marketplace, I'm not interested in saying, what about this? What about that? I'm interested in saying, hey, what's your favorite coffee? And if they say my favorite coffee is Starbucks, let's go head to head. 3 seconds, and they're going to choose our coffee. So it's a #1 premium grade coffee. I know I went a little long on that, but I want to make this point, is that it's coffee. All right. It's coffee. And for those that want to grow your network, remember, it's coffee. Okay. This is not complicated. Everybody either drinks coffee, or they know a lot of people who drink coffee. So we have 2 flavors. One is black. We call it bold. And that's because people that drink their coffee black, you're not going to fool them with a cheap brand. You're not going to fool them with a cheap, coffee. It's got to be good, or they'll tell you right away, right? And they will know this is good coffee. We also have, for those kind of like me, what I like to do is, I like to drink the black in the morning when I get up, and I drink, and then maybe in the afternoon I switch over to the cream and caramel. That's kind of my strategy, but you'll have your own strategy. Or after dinner, I like to have, a sweeter coffee. But the cream and caramel, I can tell you, if you want to write this down, you can use it. It's like a liquid dessert in a cup. When people try this coffee, they're going to know that they found home. All right. Again, we're not competing with, I call it Mickey Mouse, but Joe, in his basement. We're not talking about that. We want to go head to head with the biggest and the best coffee companies in the world, and we'll do that all day long with a smile because it's just that good. Now, what makes it really special is that it's infused with a #1 grade cordyceps. It's an organic cordyceps. We're not going to go into a lot of details. We're not even going to focus that much because we've got 400 healthcare practitioners that will go into details. There's over 7 million pages of third-party validation on the power. I was going to say the miraculous power of cordyceps. I'm not going to say that, but of the power of cordyceps, right? So we've got that in the coffee. You can't taste it, you can't see it, you can't smell it, but one thing, you're going to feel it, which brings us to the last point, is that it's the coffee that makes you feel good. So when someone says, what is PureCAFE? It's the coffee that makes you feel good. That would work. Or if they say, what is PureCAFE? It's a #1 grade coffee. It's premium #1 grade coffee. That works. What's PureCAFE? Well, this is the coffee that is infused with #1 grade cordyceps. Okay, these are, or you can say all 5. Boom, 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 right? But this is, I don't know if, again, I get excited when I start talking about this. The only step, if you're just taking a look, or even if you're a brand partner, just give it a try. When it's available in February, make sure it a try. And we're recommending the sample pack. What is a sample pack? It's 30 cups of bold, and you got 20 cups of latte. That's going to be enough that you go through 30 cups of bold over a 1 or 2 week period. You go through 20 cups of latte, and you're going to know, like I said, you found home. And we want to just add a little something here. And for all the brand partners, and even if you're a potential customer here, when you start sampling the coffee, stop drinking everything else. Don't go to Starbucks. You'll save a lot of money. Don't go to Tim Hortons. You'll save a lot of money. Don't go to Dunkin' Donuts and Folgers. You'll save a lot of, just stick with this coffee until you've emptied the sample pack, and then do whatever you want. Okay. And there's a reason we're asking you to do that. Is one of the coffees is it'll alkaline your system. Again, I'm not a healthcare practitioner. I'm not going down that road, but ask any healthcare practitioner if alkalining your system is good or bad, right? It's one of the minor details here. So get the sample pack. Now, the next question is that always comes up is, how much does it cost, right? You never go to Starbucks. How much does it cost? People are paying $5, $6, $7, $8 for a cup of coffee all day long, right? The lineups are incredible. But when you hear this question, how much does it cost? I always throw it right back and say, well, how much? Because I don't know. How much do you typically pay for a cup of coffee where you live? And if you have a pen, write the number down. Is it $2.50? Is it $3.50? Is it $5? Again, I was talking to someone from Florida that was talking to a friend in California, and they were saying they paid $8 for 1 cup of coffee. I'm going, that's crazy. That's crazy, but we love it. So when they tell me, for example, if I'm having a conversation, it comes up, how much does it cost? And I want to know from that person, well, how much do you normally pay? And they say $2.50, $3.50, $4.50, $5, whatever the price is. And then I ask this question. That's great. Let's say they say they're paying $3.50 as an example. On average, we just want to know approximate average. They don't have to be exactly precise, but they know approximately they're paying about X amount. Then I would ask them, well, what would it be worth to you if this coffee that we're talking about is as good or better? It can't be less. If it's not as good, they're not going to drink it. It's got to be as good or better than the coffee they're drinking. But if we added a wellness component to every cup, if we added this wellness component called cordyceps, and that if you drank, when you drink the coffee, you start feeling good, what would that be worth? And every time, the majority of people say, I'll pay more than $3.50. I'll pay more than $4.50. They never say I'll pay the same. I guess a couple times people said I'd pay the same because they're spending so much money. But most times they're going to say they're going to pay more than what they're traditionally paying. Well, guess what? This is where this is the point, and why I'm setting this up is because I want you to get into the habit. When you hear how much is a cost, ask them how much they're already paying. Ours is about $1 a cup. Okay, it's about $1 a cup. Now, I don't care how many people you ask. I don't care how many people you ask hey, how much you paying for your coffee now? No one's coming back at $1 a cup. All right. They're all coming back at $2.50, $3.50, crazy amounts that will shock you right now. And so the company is working on the strategy to keep our coffee to about $1 a cup. I didn't say it's $1 a cup. It's around $1 a cup, right? We're trying to get it right to about $1 a cup so that we can, that's the sweet spot. If we can get that coffee, that premium coffee, and the way that I look at it, this is the way I look at it. We're giving away our coffee for free. Okay. It's actually free if you want to know how much it costs, but we're actually going to charge for the cordyceps because they're not free. Okay. The quality of the cordyceps that we have and the way and the technology we're using and the quality of everything we're doing to put this together, this is extraordinarily expensive. And the company, Live Pure, has made a phenomenal investment to make this a reality. So thank you so much to Live Pure. Again, their focus was quality, 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 quality. And can we get it even better quality? And that was what I really, really, appreciated, because that's just beautiful. So how do you become a customer? For some people, networking is not their thing. They're not interested. They think whatever. But they can become a customer because they drink coffee every day anyway. Registration is free. If you want to become a retail customer, just like registration at Starbucks is free. If you want to go to Starbucks, they're not going to charge you to be a company. You can come and go and buy whatever you want whenever you want. It's free. So it's the same with Live Pure. If you want to purchase retail, there's no registration, no commitment. But there is something really cool that I'd need to bring up, and that is what's called a smart chip. Once someone figures out approximately how many cups they're drinking a day and how many days there are in a month, right? Which 30 days still, 30, 31 days in a month. Okay, I drink 3 cups of coffee a day or 5 cups of coffee a day, multiply by 30. Okay, got an idea. Okay, oh, my family drink, or my wife or my husband drinks X amount of coffee. So we got an idea. And now we know how much coffee that we need to bring into the household every month. Okay. They can go on what's called Smart Ship, where the company can automatically ship them their coffee every month without them having to do anything. Just ship it every month, the exact quantity that they need. And so the cool thing about that is that now that same customer is getting the coffee at the same price as the brand partner, which is me and you. If you're a brand partner, they're getting there's no difference. That, they're not telling anybody. They're in the Secret Service. They can drink their coffee and feel good and just not say anything to anybody, which is okay. That's their optional, right? And the other thing that's really advantageous to the customers is that while they're on Smart Ship, and again, Smart Ship is optional, but they get a 25% discount, by the way, right? That kind of blew my mind when I heard that. At what? Yeah, you can buy retail, but if you go on Smart Ship, we're going to give you 25% off. And you're going to earn loyalty points every month, where you're going to accumulate points where you can purchase even more product free of charge with those accumulation of loyalty points. This is phenomenal. This is how simple and easy it is to onboard a customer. But another benefit is that Live Pure has been around now for almost 17 years. They've developed a world-class line of products. There's 80 products. It's not just coffee. Coffee is their newest, but they've got 80 products that are backed by 400 healthcare professionals supporting the product line. So when I went, we're drinking a cup of coffee, and Rick and Randy were in the office. Hey, look, Shane, we've got this. And I'm going, really? And we have this, and they have phenomenal world-class products. So those customers will have access to all of those products at the same discounted price as the brand ambassadors, which is, to me, is like a dream come true for the customer. And so next is, let's just talk a little bit about, for the benefit again of our guests, is the Live Pure collaboration. Live Pure is the name of the company behind this movement that we're doing. They're the ones that planted the flag and said, we're going to do this. We believe that they believe that we're going to, Rick, on our initial call, and most of the people, even on this call, believe that this movement that we're going to create starting in February of 2024 will bring the company into momentum. It's just a phenomenal wave that's coming here. So again, they're 17-year-old, they're debt-free, they're cash flow positive, so they're not a company like most of the companies out there are struggling even just to pay their distributors or their partners. They're not paying them in a lot of cases. They're struggling. It's a very difficult time. Live Pure has never missed a check to one of their partners in 17 years. They've never been late on a check in 17 years. That is called putting the priorities in the right place. They are so happy and grateful for their brand partners. And Mr. Jung is the CEO, of course, the visionary genius behind this company. And I can tell you from personal experience, he loves his customers and he loves his brand partners. And every time he speaks, it's always with this passion, thinking about the customer, thinking about the brand partner. How can we make it easier? How can we make it better? How can we improve the quality for our customers and our brand partners? So again, backed by 400 healthcare practitioners. This is called a clue. Okay, this is a clue. 400 healthcare practitioners are putting their name on the line and offering these products to their clients. I can't imagine how many, and just for fun, guys, play with me on this one, right? Imagine, let's call it 400. I think there's a lot more coming in now. Healthcare practitioners, they're finding out there's a buzz going on. But imagine a healthcare practitioner, that telling all their clients, stop drinking coffee, man. Stop. How many, put your hand up if you know what I'm talking about. They're telling their, hey, you got to stop drinking that coffee. Why? Because it's full of acid, and acid is the beginning of every disease. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should let the healthcare professionals say that, but the acid is not a good thing, right? When they see and when they find out, and many of them already know, and many more are about to find out, that this will alkaline, they're going to be recommending coffee to every one of their customers. And they're going to say something like, for 25 years, I've been telling my clients to stop drinking coffee until Live Pure came out with PureCAFE. And you know the rest of the story. So Mr. Jung is, again, like the visionary genius behind the company. You've just heard from Rick Redford, the president of the company, and you're about to hear from Randy Crane, who's the senior vice president. The corporate team is the number one reason that I put my name on the line here, is because they've got a real corporate team of professionals, and there's many more on the corporate team, all the divisions, but it's that corporate team and the way they're working together on this mission that is very, very impressive. Okay, next, we're going to talk about the brand partner. I mean, this to me gets me fired up and excited, because you don't need to be experienced in anything. I don't care about your background, about your success. Anybody can become a brand partner, because we're leading with coffee. We're not leading with rocket science. We're not leading with technical jargon. We're leading with, hey, do you drink coffee? You know, who could do this, right? Anybody. And you can earn up to, and there's many, many ways. We're not going to go into the whole comp plan, but the bottom line is you can earn up to 50% of the point volume that all of your customers order. So for example, if your customer is ordering like 100,000 customers over time, you build it up, and your customers are ordering whatever it is, 10,000 or 5,000, you pick a number, you can make up to half, you know, of that PV. And that to me, again, is mind-boggling. The markets that we're most interested in right now is USA and Canada, 100%. Okay, USA and Canada, USA and Canada, USA and Canada. But they're also doing business in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, Thailand, and Ghana. Okay, these are the areas that we're going to focus on. But what I'm talking about is the PureCAFE movement is going to launch in USA and Canada, and the corporation, the company, is going to announce, okay, coffee's coming to, let's say they say it's coming to Japan, and here's the date, and this is, you know, they're going to announce it, not me or not anyone else. It's going to be the company is going to say, we're ready now. They're not going to open up a country when the infrastructure isn't prepared to handle the mass volumes that will be going through. So the company, again, is being very responsible. So as we move forward towards our liftoff in February of 2024, there will be announcements. I can assure you, there will be announcements. Hey, guess what? We got a date for X country. Hey, guess what? We're going to Japan, or we're going to Korea, or we're going to Thailand next, or Ghana, whatever. So those announcements will come. But for now, Canada and US, we are laser beam focused on right now. And so product launch is going to be amazing. It's February 2024. We're going to be, as we get closer and closer, we're going to have a specific date. We expect to do a live event, and people can optionally come in. I'm going to be there for sure to give birth to this movement with everyone that wants to come in to Dallas. Most likely will be in Dallas, but we'll be making that announcement very, very soon. And customers, we love customers. This is the really cool thing, is that we love the customer has an unfair advantage here because they can get the price at the same rate as the brand partner, but they don't need to. They could just be a coffee customer and just enjoy their they don't have to come to meetings. They don't have to draw the circles. They don't even think it's legal. They just want their coffee, right? So we love them. And there's a way that you can earn a full-time living just talking to customers. You know, if this is you, that you know, you like the idea, you like making money, but you don't want to go recruiting because maybe you're shy or maybe you're nervous or you don't think you're ready to do that kind of stuff. Look, you can just focus on the customer and just talk about customer. I got the product, click on this link, order the product. You get the idea, and you can just build a very, very good living just with customers. Or you can become a brand partner, of course, or and go and talk to other people. Because look, when we're talking about coffee and you're talking to a customer, how long do you think it's going to take for that customer to figure out, man, this coffee is really good and it's making me feel good? You're telling me that if I introduce this coffee to my friends at work or to my neighbors on the right and the left and across the street, that the company's going to pay me? And we say, yeah, not just one time, forever. And I want you to imagine this. Imagine getting paid every time someone you introduce to coffee, every time they take a sip in the morning, you're getting paid. It doesn't matter where you are, you know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you've had a good day or bad day, or if you're on the beach, you're getting paid with every single sip of coffee. That fires me up. Like, that gets me, because I can see it's only a matter of time. You know, as we go from week to week, we're building our customer list. We're building our brand partner list. We're getting training done now. This is a good training, for example, just to show you the simplicity of this particular presentation. That's it. Okay. If you want this presentation, you can download it. I've uploaded it to one of the sites. If you need any information, just get in touch with the brand partner. They'll be able to download this for you. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and it is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to the one and only Senior Vice President of Live Pure, Mr. Randy Crane, in the house. We want to hear your comments and some feedback as we wrap up this call. Over to you, Randy.
Shane, it's always good to start the morning the right way, right? It's cold
Randy,
here in Utah. The weather's nasty.
What you're drinking there, you
well,
know.
You know exactly what I'm drinking. I have held this sample until this time of the year. I've got total of 3 cups left. I've got the one this morning. I've got one for Christmas Eve, and then I have to split a latte with my daughter as she comes to my house on Christmas Day. So yeah, I'm holding out in reserve. Shane, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the call. You'd asked me just to share a brief couple thoughts. First of all, I have a phrase that's called lucky. I think you all are lucky to be on this call today or be at this timing. Lucky, in my opinion, it has a little bit different connotation or a connotation than what most people think lucky is. Lucky to me is being prepared for the blessing of opportunity when it presents itself. And I think right now is unbelievable timing. First of all, you're being exposed to a company that's 17 years old, it's cash flow positive, debt-free, not just cash flow positive, cash accrual every single month, and has a initial reorder rate of 87%, meaning people who buy our products, 87% of them come back and buy more products. And now we're going to add this incredible product that is the second most consumed liquid on the planet to our portfolio. And Shane and his organization, these incredible leaders, are joining. Couldn't be more thrilled about that. But Shane asked me today what I would suggest in sharing how to expand a network. So I'm going to share with you very brief. What I'm going to share is going to take a total of 3 minutes. Everything you need to know about sharing coffee or building a network marketing team or business, you learned in first grade. Does that surprise you? You did. I can promise you did. It was called Show and Tell. Hey, Shane, dude, it's the greatest to start the morning with an amazing cup of coffee. Hey, Shane, do you drink coffee? You do? You do? Hey, I've got this really cool cup of coffee. Would you like one? Tastes amazing.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's about $1 a cup. Tastes better than anything else you'll taste. So simple. Most people are going to complicate it. Too many people are going to complicate this and say, oh, it does this. It does. No. Hey, I've got an amazing cup of coffee. Would you like one? Oh, by the way, I can get you another one. Do you know anyone else who drinks coffee, Shane?
I know a ton of people. Everybody drinks coffee.
Amazing, isn't it? I get mine for less than $1 a cup, and it's better than what you can get at Starbucks. That is so good. How many would like a cup of coffee of this kind right now? Do me a favor, raise your hand. Okay, look at that. It's beautiful. It's that simple. Don't complicate it. It's just keep it simple. Number 2, the second thing you learned in first grade on how to build a network marketing company and how to build with this is called follow the leader. Get that person that you shared the cup of coffee with to do the same thing. Hey, Shane, do you think if I gave you a sample of coffee, you could share it with somebody else?
Oh, yeah, I could share it within 10 minutes.
Pretty simple, right? No, not complicated. That's that simple. Just rinse and repeat. It's that simple. Let the coffee do the talking. It's that simple. This stuff is incredible. I promise you. Just a second. Hold on. Just a minute. Can you hear that? Oh.
That's not fair, Randy. That's not fair.
I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this. It's that. I see the faces. I'm sorry. But here's the thing. Commit to consistency. So that's the second thing. How do you build a network? Remember everything you learned in first grade. Show and tell, follow the leader. That's it. Number 2 is be consistent. Share 2 a day. Shane, if you had 2 cups of coffee every day, could you share 2?
I could do it.
You could do it. It's that simple. But every day, 6, 7 days a week, just share. That's all you have to do. There's a phrase that's supposedly tied back to Confucius that says, men start projects or tasks like dragon's face and end like dragon's tail. Shane, have you seen a Chinese dragon in artwork? Huge, monstrous, ferocious face, massive teeth, right? Claws, huge. And what does their tail look like? Little tiny itty bitty ribbon, right? So the thing I would tell our people here is, don't worry about starting the project like a dragon's face. Don't worry about the dragon's tail. Just be consistent every single day. My favorite business book is James Clear's. It's called Atomic Habits. In it talks about consistently doing something, the habitual habit of committing to a system and doing the same thing every day, committing to system. Don't worry about the goal. Don't worry about the 8 million people in your organization. Worry about committing to share 2 cups of coffee every day. If you do that, everything else takes care of itself. But then show and tell, follow the leader. Shane, with that said, I told you I'd commit to about 3 minutes. That's what I wanted to share. I appreciate you having me on the call. Cannot tell you how excited we are to have you, your team, and all these folks on. And cheers.
Awesome. Awesome. Randy Crane, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Thank you so much for that contribution. And now you got me all fired up. Here we go. Yeah. So I want to conclude. We're going to conclude this call, but I want to encourage you to really, whoever thought enough about you to recommend that you check out this information, let them know. If you're not already a brand partner, let them know. If you just want to try the coffee with a sample pack and get on the waiting list, just let them know. They'll get you on that waiting list. Or if you prefer to become a brand partner, you can join again with the sample pack, or you can become a brand partner. That's all we're doing. We're leading up to February 2024. Every week, we're going to do a call at this time. Doesn't matter. Next week, I think I'm going to be in Cancun instead of the Dolomites. So we're going from one extreme to the next. I'm excited. And so again, we'll be here. We've got some information that we were going to share today, but President Rick Redford will be on the call, and he's going to share something with you that he showed me, and I almost fell off my chair when he showed it to me, but it's awesome. He will be ready next week to do that. And so we will see you next week right here, same time, live on Black to Gold. Thank you, everyone, for connecting.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And we'll just open up the mics, everyone, to say Merry Christmas. Everyone, open up the mics. Go ahead.
Merry
Everybody can
Christmas.
say Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Blessing.
Merry Christmas, everybody.